March 1945. The Rhine River front. Cold wind moves across broken European farmland where winter mud clings to boots, equipment, and abandoned trenches. The war in Europe is entering its final, violent phase. For the German High Command of the Wehrmacht, the Western Front had become a desperate defense line against advancing Allied forces. But intelligence reports arriving from reconnaissance units carried disturbing information. Massive American armored formations were gathering near the Rhine River. Not small units, not scattered infantry, something much larger. Observers reported more than 40,000 enemy soldiers preparing for a crossing operation. Hundreds of tanks were allegedly positioned across the fields. Artillery batteries were moving into combat readiness. Radio intercept teams confirmed troop movements. Everything suggested one terrifying conclusion. The United States Army was preparing a full-scale assault crossing the Rhine. German commanders began planning immediate counterattacks. But there was one problem. The army they were preparing to destroy did not exist. Hidden across the battlefield was one of the most extraordinary military deception operations in history. The formation was not built from soldiers carrying rifles. It was created by artists, engineers, sound specialists, and camouflage experts belonging to the legendary Ghost Army. This unit numbered only about 1,100 men. Their mission was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. Make the enemy believe a massive army was standing where there was none. Inflatable tanks were deployed across open farmland. These were not metal machines of destruction. They were rubber and canvas shells shaped to resemble American armored vehicles. From a distance, especially under winter mist and artillery smoke, they looked completely real. Technicians carefully painted shadows and wear marks onto the decoys to mimic combat machinery that had survived battle. But visual deception was only part of the strategy. Sound was weaponized. Large loudspeaker systems were hidden inside trucks parked near fake formations. Through these speakers played recordings of marching soldiers. Engineers simulated engine vibrations. Gunfire sounds were broadcast into open terrain. German reconnaissance listening posts intercepted what they believed were real troop concentrations. Even radio communication was faked. Operators transmitted false operational messages across open channels, imitating American command structure chatter. To German intelligence teams, the battlefield was alive with preparation. Inside German headquarters, officers analyzed reports with growing anxiety. The Wehrmacht had already suffered devastating losses across Europe. Supplies were shrinking. Air superiority had shifted toward Allied forces. Morale among frontline soldiers was weakening. Commanders feared that the Rhine crossing could become the final collapse of Western defenses. So artillery batteries were ordered to strike suspected invasion zones. Shells screamed across the river. Explosions erupted in empty fields where rubber tanks stood silently under camouflage netting. Dust, smoke, and shattered earth rose into the March sky. Thousands of German artillery rounds were wasted firing at shadows. Every explosion was real German firepower being spent against illusion. The psychological pressure was devastating. Soldiers on the ground could not easily distinguish real targets from fake ones. Some German infantry units advanced cautiously toward what they believed were armored divisions, only to discover canvas armor skins beneath scattered battlefield dust. For 6 long days, the Wehrmacht chased ghosts. Meanwhile, real Allied forces prepared river crossings at less defended sectors of the Rhine. Bridges were secured. Engineering units built assault pontoons. Infantry divisions crossed under heavy but more manageable resistance. The deception operation achieved its primary goal. German defensive forces were scattered, confused, and exhausted. But the Ghost Army soldiers knew their mission carried danger. They worked alarmingly close to the front line. If German commanders discovered the deception, artillery could have been redirected toward the personnel maintaining the illusion. Every loudspeaker, every inflatable tank, every false signal carried risk. The battle was not fought with bullets. It was fought with psychology, with fear, with belief. Military historians later described the operation as one of the greatest tactical deception achievements of World War II, not because it destroyed enemy forces, but because it convinced a powerful army to fight something that was never there. The Rhine crossings ultimately allowed Allied forces to penetrate deeper into Germany during the final collapse of the Third Reich. The war in Europe would end only weeks later, but in the muddy fields near the Rhine in March 1945, another kind of weapon had been tested. Not steel,